Welcome to the HyperFast Show. I am so excited to have Mikki and John here. Now, their stats are incredibly impressive. They own not one, but two businesses, and they've worked with over 500 doctors in the last few years. And guys, 500 doctors are the clients that everyone wants, right? They're decisive. They value their time and ours. They tend to have a lot of money. There's probably people who are watching right now just like ready to take notes and learn. So please share with us a little bit more about your businesses and how you've had this incredible success.
Sure. So I'll start. I'm actually the broker and owner of my small business called Healthy Realty. We have a team of 16 agents, and we focus, and actually I began the company in 2008. Not always what people see as a great time to start a real estate company in 2008, but I figured, everybody else is crashing and we're starting, so we're going somewhere.
I started in 2008 too, so I think it's an awesome year to start.
Yeah, that's what I tell people too. But anyway, so we started the business then and just had this dream and this goal of working with physicians. And we understand that group very well because John happens to be a physician. So he's here with us today, and he knows that market really well. We got married 2 weeks before he started medical school. So we have lived this medical life together, and we love, our passion is really just to share and what doctors go through and what their lives are like in buying and selling homes over their training period and once they get into practice after training. So we're really passionate about helping people through that whole process.
That's amazing. So you have inside knowledge. You've taken that and really created your own niche in the market, right?
Right. Exactly. So it's been great to live it. And, I didn't get a real estate license to run a real estate company. And, 10 years later, I'm running a very successful real estate company. I actually got it to help buy and sell our own personal transactions. With John being a physician, we moved a lot. So it just made a lot of sense to get a license and help us. But then, I just had this vision of, we've been through it. I want to help other people do it well, because we had some really bad experiences with realtors. And that's really what kind of led us to Healthy Realty and to starting this company.
So cool. And
that's one of our businesses. And I'll let John talk about our other business.
Okay, great. John, let's hear from you too.
Yeah, so I'd like to start off with Mikki's my boss. That's the first thing I want. She's the boss here.
That's right.
So.
Keri knows how that is, right?
My husband's not going to watch this one.
Yeah, that's right. He's not going to watch.
So I am a physician. I'm actually an allergist, immunologist, but I've had my real estate license for about 13 years. So when Mikki started her company, it was nice to have me in the background just to help answer phone calls and, just be able to help when she needed help. And so, we started helping doctors locally, and we got very good at it. And, we came up with the idea about 5 years ago, we could do this nationally. We could, help physicians relocate nationally. So we started a company called DRMovescom to help doctors find great real estate agents across the country and great doctor loans across the country. A lot of real estate agents have never heard of doctor loans, and we can talk a little bit about that, but that's a big part of our business, is help get doctors connected with loans that can really help them buy houses.
Amazing. So how did you take it nationally? Once you had that vision, how did you do it?
Yeah, so the first step was just created a website, and it's kind of the like Zillow for doctors is what we call it. Is that a lot of doctors come to our site for not just real estate information, but just how to make extra money. So there's not just real estate information on the site, but ways doctors can make it extra income. So they come to the site, and a lot of times they are looking for realtors or doctor loans, and they come there and ask for help. And we try to give a lot of education on the site and teach them how to do that.
Okay, very cool. So Mikki, take us back. You've gone through this with John because you've been there throughout med school. And then you have this vision for helping others avoid the experience that you had buying and selling homes. So when you were launching your business back in 2008, if you could take us there, and then how you started getting to work with more doctors, how that was set up, that'd be awesome.
Oh, sure. So Back in 2008, this will be relatable to you and to some other people. I started my business with 3 children that were under the age of 5. So that was a little bit crazy. That's right. I'm sure there are other ladies out there that are doing that. But we did that, and we had just done this ourselves. So back in 2008, John was finished with all of his training. We bought a home when he was in medical school. We bought a home when he was in residency. We bought a home when he was in fellowship. So we did this throughout the whole process and really learned how it was a financially wise decision for doctors to buy real estate during those phases. And it does change market to market. So I like to always connect people with a local realtor to let them really think about whether buying or renting makes more sense.
Sure.
But our experience buying made a lot of sense. So back in 2008, we had this vision, had a business plan. And so I started out, the first 4 clients I got were from one mailing that I did. I mailed just this cute little flyer that is, very dated at this point, but I mailed this flyer out to about 150 incoming medical residents to our medical school. And thankfully 4 people called me out of that, and I helped those 4 medical residents buy properties.
Wow.
So,
and how did you know who to mail? Like, did you find that on the database, or was it through a connection with John? Like, how did that work?
So it was through a connection at the medical school. So when they bring in medical residents, there are departments at each medical school that they will let realtors come in, and you can drop a little envelope and they'll mail it to their incoming medical residents. So for every department, there's a surgery department, an internal medicine department, anesthesiology department, so many departments. I went to all of those departments individually at our medical school and handed out my cute little flyer in a self-addressed stamped envelope. Actually with my return address, they would address it because that information is confidential. They can't tell me who's coming in. But I gave it to these coordinators. They mailed it out for me, and that was how the business began.
Oh, wow. So first of all, I want to applaud you because you saw a problem, and most people would have saw the problem, and when they found out they couldn't get the list, that would have been it. But you said, nope, I'm going to go and do the work and network and find the relationships and proactively approach all of these different departments to get it done. So good for you for actually having the kahunas to do it.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so out of 100, anyone out there, if you got 100 clients or 4 clients out of 100 attempts, like, that is amazing. Yeah. And it was your first time mailing. It wasn't like a year into the mailers, which is what, as real estate agents, we always hear. You're going to have to do it for 6 months to a year before you get your first transaction, right?
Yes. Well, and I had all those people, they said, well, you just looked really friendly. Like, I just sent out a picture and I was like, okay, make it nice. But I did have a lot of people say, oh, you just look like a really friendly, trustworthy person. And so I'm like, great, I'll take it. And then, after that, it was really nice because they would refer me to their friends in those departments. And then, years later, I helped them buy a house. So now I'm helping them sell their homes when they move out of training. And that's one reason that we love this market, because it has a really strong turnover. So the medical school, medical residents, medical school, they're there 4 years. Medical residents, they're in a home for 3 to 5 years. They're going to buy, and then they're going to sell within that 3 to 5 year time frame. So it's a very nice, predictable market.
Amazing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just said that's amazing. You're right. Like, it's your ideal client.
Right. Yeah. And they're fun to work with. They come and they are very decisive, know what they're looking for. So it's a really nice group of people. And then, we have a lot of compassion for all the student loan debt that they have and all of the challenges during training. John, I did not see him much during that phase of his life. So it's a hard part of life. So we want to help them.
And how do you take that awareness of where they are to help them in the process? Like,
yeah. So I am like the financial mom. At the end of the day, everybody gets to make their decision about what house they want. But I look at the house whenever we're buying. I look 100% at resale. I'm like, ooh, this house has a master downstairs. That's a really great resellable quality. You know, this is the most expensive house in this neighborhood. Are you sure you want to buy this? It's going to take longer to resell because it's the most expensive here. So, I mean, we really focus on resellable properties for them to buy. Sometimes they take my advice. Sometimes they do not. And then resell the house. I'm like, yes, you took my advice. This is an easy resale. And when they didn't, I'm like, oh, no. So, yes.
It's hard being a mom, isn't it?
I know, right? Yes. I was the big sister when we started. Now I'm probably more like mom.
Yeah, that's funny. So for someone like myself, that when you and I, we connected, the three of us actually at an event, and I was automatically so impressed with what you guys are doing, and the fact that you've been able to scale it, right, and create a bigger and bigger business and then take it internationally. If somebody out there is watching and they're saying, well, how do I do this in my market? Like, how do I create this kind of success? What would your advice be to them?
Yeah. So John, you want to take that?
Yeah. So a couple of things. One thing I want to go back and talk about, Mikki said, is that one of the nice things is we have predictive analytics without the computers here. It's very predictive what's going to happen with when people move. And, you know, over a 7-year period, a lot of times, some of these people have sold houses 3 or 4 times. And so where else do you get like 3 or 4, you know, exactly. Right? Where else do you get 3 or 4 sales in a 7-year period? And you know exactly when it's going to happen. So you know exactly their medical school date graduation, you know exactly when they finish up residency. So if you're contacting them 6 months to a year before that, you know, a lot of times you're getting their business. So there's not a lot of stuff out there that you know exactly when people have to buy and sell.
You're right.
That's
what came to my head immediately when you said that was, well, the only time you get 3 transactions from one person that's predictable is when they're getting divorced, right? And that's not as fun. This is like hope and excitement, and it's a totally different thing. So, yeah.
So what we've done on the DRMovescom is we've created a page for each medical school in the country. And what we're trying to do is partner with one real estate agent in that city. And what we want to do is teach them what we've done. And, you know, Mikki talked a little bit about, you know, what we've done in Charleston, South Carolina to reach the medical school people, but it's very easily duplicable and creatable whatever medical school you're at. And so it's making the contacts, getting in there, meeting the important people and doing the same thing every year over and over. And if you do that, you're going to get a lot of business.
Right. And we also, I'll add to that, we also, you know, we started with mailings was the first thing we did. But since then, we've created lecture series for going into the residencies in medical school and teaching. I'm a teacher by training. Before I was in real estate, I was a teacher. So I love to get in and talk to them about, well, would it make more sense for you to rent or to buy? Would it make more sense? You know, we get the question a lot, well, I'm only going to be here 3 years. Should I buy a house? You know, is that long enough? So we get together, educate them about what makes sense in a real estate buy and sell, you know, short-term transaction. So education is another big component besides mailings and other things we do.
Sure. So we do a lot of education as well. And I'm just thinking about how you would, if somebody's out there and they're like, oh, I want to do this, but I'm afraid, how do you recommend they approach the school?
That is a great question. Sometimes you have to go a couple of times and take a couple of no's, but if it's something that is really needed and that you're passionate about, I feel like people ultimately say yes. So, you know, you just have to be really sincere. You have to have some good statistics that, you know, what education, you know, if you have a PowerPoint or something you want to share, just what you're sharing is really for the benefit of the students. We go in and, you know, if we get no business from the school that year, that's okay with us. Our goal is just to make sure they're educated and they're making better financial decisions. So, you know, I think you really have to have the right goal for people to say yes to you.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I'll add to that. I mean, what we do is we go into each department. So each department has a secretary, and we try to, you know, make contact with that secretary, take them lunch, you know, try to get to know them and, you know, do things for them. And a lot of times, you know, they help set up the lunches with that, you know, medical students and residents. they're living on loans a lot of times, so they don't have a lot of money, so they love free food.
Oh yeah.
And so we do a lot of like dinners at restaurants, or bring in, food to the hospital, and they're willing to sit and listen to you for an hour, and your name gets out there and stuff. So I think that's one of the big things. Is just when you're doing the education, offer a free lunch or free dinner, and your turnout will be better, and they'll be more likely to listen also.
Smart. That's very smart. And I like the idea of taking them food in their environment, because then they don't have to make any extra effort. Right. So when you've tested doing it at a nice restaurant versus bringing food in the hospital, have you found that there's been a better result either way?
That's a good, and it also depends on what the school will allow. A few years ago, we had dinners outside the school. And then they started frowning upon that. They didn't want people from outside coming in. So then we started bringing things into the school for a specific lunch and learn. So always make sure you know what the school allows. We did actually find better success when we were doing things outside, and dinners and things like that outside. But the lunch and learn model is a great model as well, and we've had success with it.
Have you guys ever tried, I'm really going out on a, but have you ever tried geofencing the university?
We tried that with other things, but we haven't tried that because, with the university, you'll get all kind of people working there and stuff. But I think that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. One other thing we do is we try to make contact with the local hospitals also, and connect with the person who is scheduling interviews. So we'll say, hey, listen, we've had a lot of great success. Recruiting doctors to the area. And one of the ways that we've had success is showing them the houses in Charleston, South Carolina. So, when you bring doctors in, we're happy to do a free tour and do this. And so a lot of times they'll use us during the interview process, a lot of local hospitals. And again, as the doctors go up in training, they have more money to spend. So if you can connect with the doctors versus the residents versus the medical students, they're going to be spending a lot, more on their houses too, which is nice.
Sure. So that's
a really good point.
Absolutely. The second big tier of this whole working with physicians is we work with them when they're in training, but then for when they're out of training, we offer tours for people that are interviewing here. I'm part of the schedule. So they'll say, interview with Dr. So-and-so, interview with this, patient care management person, and a community tour with Mikki Ramey at 2 p.m. So, that'll be part of their schedule and interviewing.
That's
you
great.
just have to connect with a physician recruiter at the local hospital to be able to do that.
So when you got kind of in that position and on the schedule, did you find that they were, and I'm asking this because I've done this before as well, and there was one hospital that said, absolutely, we want you as part of the tour. And then there was another hospital that basically said, we only hire like 1 in 10 people. So we don't want to put you through that, which I appreciated when I actually learned their statistics. But have you found that you're giving so many tours and only one person will move, or are you finding most of the people that you're meeting with are ending up in the area?
Oh no, it is definitely what you're saying. You do several tours and then it'll be one person. But if I look at it from, it's my time more than my money on these. So if I'm doing different types of real estate, just trying to get clients, I'm usually spending money on it. I'm usually spending money on mailers. I'm spending money on doing internet marketing. Here it's my time, which is very valuable. But it also creates long-term potential for business. Even if somebody doesn't buy a house with me, they'll buy an investment property maybe down the road because we live in a nice second homes market. But if I get 1 out of 10 versus internet marketing where I'm getting, 1 out of 50, it's the time element and not the cost element that I'm looking at.
Well, the other thing I would say is the enjoyability, right? Like,
oh yeah, it is fun.
In a room, calling back all these people versus going on a tour with a really educated, interesting person that's looking to move to your area. Like, it's not even a contest of where I would have more fun, right?
That's right, Keri. That's a great point. Yeah.
I feel like you have a pretty good gig. Even when we were doing it, we were like, one of the things that we found is that you have to stay in regular relationship because the recruiters in our area have massive turnover. So we had one where they were including us on the schedule with every single tour, and it went from that to the next person must have just like been in over their head, wouldn't even take a meeting with us. We were sending gifts and stuff and they wouldn't even respond. So if we had got the introduction when the other person was leaving, it would have been better. And I think the timing, we just missed that. So that's one of many hospitals, but I think that there is a way to really take and systemize what you're saying and just make sure that you have your touch points so that you're not missing out on opportunities.
I think that's a great point. I think I was talking to one of our agents this morning and just talking about how whatever you choose, whether it's postcards or cold calling, it's a percentage game. You do 100 cold calls, you get 1 or 2 clients. So that's probably going to, spend 8 hours doing that. So again, how many community tours do you have to do to get a physician and stuff? So it's all a percentage game. It's rarely 100%. You get it every time.
Totally. Well, what advice? So 2 things for your international platform. If somebody said, please help me connect with medical students in my area or physicians, or how did they reach out to you and what would be the next steps?
Yeah, so they can contact us at go to DRMovescom, so drmoves.com, and our email is info@drmoves.com.
Okay.
And at each medical school, we're looking for one realtor to partner with us so that we can teach them how to do the same thing, so that we can also send referrals back and forth, because each year there's a thing called Match Day, where all the residents across the country find out where they're going on the same day. It's usually around March 20th. And so we have a massive number of 150 students here in Charleston, South Carolina, that most of them are moving out of Charleston, going somewhere else. So we're always trying to connect them with realtors in other cities. And it's a lot easier to connect them when you have somebody in that city instead of on that day trying to find somebody.
Of course. Yeah.
So we got a big...
Good news. You guys have the DMV covered.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. But no, just contact us, and we love sharing with other people on how to do this, because being a doctor, I want people to hook up with realtors who know about medicine and know about doctor loans. We haven't talked about doctor loans yet, but this is hard to believe. A lot of realtors don't know this, but there's still 100% financing loans out there, and doctors can get them. And so that's what happens is, for doctors, they can get 100% financing, no PMI. And also the other nice thing is they don't count their educational debt against them when buying a house. So these doctor loans are really good for medical professionals, because they can buy houses. Some of them, especially like ones coming out of training, they wouldn't be able to afford getting a house, but with not counting their educational debt, they are able to buy a house.
It's huge. And in our area, there's certain providers, right, that have the doctor loan. Who do you guys use in your area?
So on our website, we have a list of all the banks in each state that do it. So a doctor or a realtor can go there and look in the state and say, these are the 10 banks that have doctor loans. So we make it really easy to find the banks. And we're always updating that list, because there are always new banks that say have a doctor's loan program. But yeah, there's a lot of programs out there, but you have to know that they're out there to help your clients.
Well, the first thing I would say is everybody needs to go and check out the website. So it's
DRMoves, M-O-V.
DRMoves. All I was thinking is DR loans, because I'm thinking everybody needs to know about doctor loans. So that's what was in my head. So go to drmoves.com, and then how do they get their information to you? Is there a form they can fill out if they're interested in partnering with you?
Just send us an email at info@drmoves.com.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, that's an incredible resource. And if you guys don't know about doctor loans, I would definitely reach out to them, because it's something you need to know about. Otherwise, if you have doctor clients, like, this is just a warning. If you don't know about doctor loans, you have a doctor client, you don't talk to them about doctor loans, and a year later, they talk to one of the 3 of us, right? They're going to go, oh, my real estate agent didn't take care of me because they didn't understand all the options. So part of what I think is challenging as a real estate agent, and everybody watching this podcast, you're watching it because you seek education, you seek to learn. So you're in the top 1 or 2%, right? And if you're not there yet, you will be, because education is the key to growth. But part of it is you don't even know what you don't know. right? And there's so many new people. There's right now, I just heard the statistics, 1.6 million people are in school to be real estate agents. 1.6 million. Well, that means, that's just an incredible influx, because right now there's just under 2 million real estate agents in the country. Mm-hmm. So we're about ready to double in the number of real estate agents. And so what's the trend that's happening is the top are going towards the top and the bottom are drifting further away. And that middle gap is getting further and further apart. And I know with a program like what you guys are talking about, people are going to be at the top because they're working with the best clients that are the most decisive and that are moving, 2 and 3 times in a 7-year period. That's incredible.
And we've had people switch realtors when they say, hey, can you help me find a bank that does doctor loans? And they look like a deer in the headlight, like, what's the doctor loan? I've never heard of that. So I agree with you. If they're going to work with doctors, they need to understand the doctor loans. They need to know locally who offers them, make connections with those lenders. We've had a lot of lenders send us business in Charleston because they know we work for a lot of doctors. So it goes back and forth a lot with those providers doing doctor loans.
Awesome. I have a question for you guys. How are you leveraging social media and video in your effort to do this, or are you?
We actually, a couple of years ago, we created, and this is on my to-do list, to create little snippet videos and do mailings. Now is kind of this time we start planning for all these people. And we did a lecture series that we partnered with a financial planner and we partnered with a doctor loan officer. And we did little, 20-minute interviews with them about what do you need to consider if you're a financial, from the financial planner perspective, and you're a physician at this phase of practice. And then what do you consider in looking at a doctor loan? Explain that. So we did okay for a while. We did like maybe 4, I think we had 4 in a series that we sent out to medical people in our area by email and did videos. And then added it to the DRMoves website where they could go and look. And so I feel like we can always do more. Everybody I think feels that way. We can always do more videos and more education.
But we have about probably 10 to 15 webinars like this that where we've talked about a lot of these questions, because a lot of the, especially medical students and residents, are first-time home buyers. So they don't know a lot. So that we try to do that so they can learn about, what is a doctor loans? How do you get pre-qualified? We talk a lot about that. And so we have those on the website also.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, you guys, this has been so helpful. Is there anything I didn't ask you about that you think would be helpful to people watching?
I think timing is big. We talked about, especially for throughout the year when you're working with the attending physician and doing interviews, a lot of that is throughout the year. So you just connect. But when you're working with medical students and residents, it's very seasonal. So you definitely want to start marketing to them, I think, in my opinion, now, like in the fall, because they'll do match day March 20th. So you need to be known by that group of people by the middle of March. If you're not getting their business. So,
right.
There are ways, if you get to know people, there are ways to figure out who like the residents are at a hospital and stuff like that. And when they're having to move when they finish their residency. So you can go look them up on tax records and see if they own a house. And so if you didn't connect with them initially, you can say, oh, this doctor's going to be selling a house in 6 months. And we start sending them a lot of emails and videos and stuff like that, and hoping that we can be their listing agent. So there are ways to figure out, who's going to be selling their houses in the next year.
Such a smart niche. I love it. You guys are brilliant.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that? Just going through the website or emailing you?
Yeah, so that's great. We're both on social media. You look up Mikki Ramey, and spelled Mikki, and then John Ramey. We're both on Facebook and Instagram, so you can find us on there also.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. This was really incredible. I'm inspired. I'm going to go out and get to work.
All right. Come visit in Charleston again.
I would love to. That would be super fun.
You can hang out with us and Pat Hyben one day.
That would be really fun. And my best friend just moved down there. So I have extra reason to come down and check it out.
Awesome.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. Give it a quick like below and comment and share. We'd love your feedback. For more videos like this, click here. And to subscribe, click here.